Maria lived in a small apartment, the kind where the walls were thin and you could hear your neighbor's TV. She had 2 kids, Sofia and Matteo, who were the most important people in her world. Sofia was a bright, curious girl who loved to read, and Matteo was a bundle of energy, always running and playing. Life wasn't easy. Maria worked long hours cleaning houses, but it never seemed like enough. Rent was always due, and there were always bills to pay. Sometimes, she had to choose between buying groceries and buying new shoes for the kids when their old ones had holes. She felt a constant weight on her shoulders, a worry that never seemed to go away. One particularly tough week, the landlord raised the rent, and Maria felt like she was drowning. She sat at her kitchen table, the dim light casting long shadows, and wondered how she was going to make it through. Sofia and Matteo were asleep, their small faces peaceful. Maria looked at them and knew she had to find a way. She couldn't let them down. She thought about her abuela, her grandmother, and the delicious empanadas she used to make. Abuela's empanadas were famous in their town. Everyone loved them. Maria had learned the recipe, watching her abuela carefully. Maybe, just maybe, she could do something with that. But fear crept in. What if nobody liked her empanadas? What if she failed? What if she lost even more money? But then she looked at a drawing Sofia had made for her, a picture of a smiling sun, and Matteo's tiny, worn-out shoes by the door. She knew she had to try. She had to do it for them. That night, Maria barely slept. She tossed and turned, her mind racing with ideas and worries. But one thought kept coming back: she had to try. She owed it to Sofia and Matteo to try her best. The next morning, she woke up with a newfound determination. She would make those empanadas, and she would sell them. She would find a way to support her kids, no matter what. It was going to be hard, but Maria was ready. She was a mother, and mothers can do anything. The next morning, Maria woke up before the sun. Her small apartment was still dark, but the sky outside was beginning to lighten. She tiptoed into the kitchen, careful not to wake Sofia and Matteo. She put on her abuela's old apron, the one with the faded flowers, and took a deep breath. It was time to make empanadas. First, she gathered all the ingredients: flour, butter, eggs, and the special spices that made her abuela's empanadas so delicious. She mixed the dough, kneading it with her hands, just like her abuela had taught her. The smell of the dough filled the small kitchen, a warm, comforting scent that reminded her of happy times. Next, she prepared the filling. Savory ground beef, onions, peppers, and a touch of chili powder. The filling simmered on the stove, bubbling and releasing its delicious aroma. Maria carefully filled each empanada with the savory mixture, crimping the edges with a fork to seal them tight. As she worked, she remembered her abuela's words: "Maria, my dear, the secret ingredient is love. Always put your heart into your cooking." Maria smiled. She was putting all her love into these empanadas, for Sofia and Matteo. Finally, the empanadas were ready to bake. She placed them in the oven, watching as they turned golden brown, their crusts flaky and delicious. The aroma filled the entire apartment, making Maria's mouth water. She couldn't wait to taste them. While the empanadas baked, Maria made a simple sign: Maria's empanadas, homemade with love. She found an old cardboard box and lined it with a clean cloth. This would be her makeshift stand. When the empanadas were finally ready, she carefully placed them in the box, their warmth radiating through the cloth. She woke Sofia and Matteo, dressed them quickly, and told them about her plan. "We're going to sell empanadas," she announced, her voice filled with excitement. Sofia clapped her hands. "Can I help, Mama?" Matteo nodded eagerly. "Me too." Maria smiled. "Of course, you can. Sofia, you can help me count the money. And Matteo, you can help me hand out the empanadas." Together, they walked to the busiest corner in their neighborhood. Maria found a spot on the sidewalk, set up her box, and placed the sign in front. She took a deep breath and waited. This was it. This was the beginning. The first few minutes felt like forever. Maria stood behind her cardboard box, watching people walk by. Some glanced at her sign, but most hurried past, too busy to notice. Sofia held her hand, and Mateo fidgeted, eager to hand out empanadas. Maria started to feel that familiar fear creeping in. Maybe nobody will buy them, she whispered to herself. But just then, a woman stopped. She was wearing a bright yellow dress and carrying a large shopping bag. She smiled at Maria. "What are empanadas?" she asked. "They're like little savory pies," Maria explained. "Filled with delicious beef and spices. My abuela's recipe." The woman's eyes lit up. "They smell amazing. I'll take one." Maria's heart fluttered with excitement. She carefully handed the woman an empanada. The woman took a bite and closed her eyes. "Oh my goodness," she exclaimed. "This is the best thing I've tasted in ages. I'll take 2 more." Sofia giggled as Maria carefully wrapped the empanadas. Mateo proudly handed them to the woman. Maria felt a surge of hope. Maybe this could work. As the morning went on, more people stopped. The delicious smell of the empanadas drew them in. Soon, there was a small line forming in front of Maria's stand. People raved about the taste, telling their friends and neighbors. "These are incredible," one man said. "You have to try them. The crust is so flaky," another woman exclaimed. "And the filling is so flavorful." Sofia diligently counted the money, carefully placing the coins in a small jar. Mateo beamed as he handed out empanadas, his small hands reaching out to customers. By lunchtime, Maria's box was almost empty. She couldn't believe it. She had sold almost all of her empanadas. She looked at Sofia and Mateo, their faces flushed with excitement. They had done it. "We did it, Mama!" Sofia shouted, jumping up and down. Mateo gave Maria a big hug. "We're the best empanada sellers ever." Maria smiled, her heart overflowing with joy. It was just the first day, but it felt like a huge success. She packed up her box, feeling lighter than she had in a long time. As they walked home, Maria made a promise to herself. She would work hard, she would keep making delicious empanadas, and she would never give up. For Sofia, for Mateo, and for her abuela, she would make this work. The sidewalk was just the beginning. The next day, Maria woke up even earlier. The demand for her empanadas was higher than she expected, so she needed to make even more. Sofia and Mateo were excited to help again. They knew they were part of something special. As they walked to their spot on the sidewalk, Maria noticed something different. There were already a few people waiting. They had heard about her empanadas and wanted to try them. Maria's heart swelled with happiness. The sidewalk stand became a regular thing. Every morning, Maria, Sofia, and Mateo would set up their box and sell empanadas. Rain or shine, they were there. People started calling Maria, the empanada lady. Maria learned a lot about running a business on the sidewalk. She figured out the best time to sell, which flavors were the most popular, and how to keep the empanadas warm. She even started offering a special salsa, made with fresh tomatoes and chili peppers. But the best part was the people she met. She learned their names, their stories, and their favorite flavors. Some were construction workers, some were office workers, and some were just people passing by. But they all loved Maria's empanadas. One day, an old man stopped by. He had a kind face and a twinkle in his eye. He bought an empanada and sat down on a nearby bench to eat it. After he finished, he walked back to Maria's stand. "These empanadas," he said, "they remind me of my mother's cooking. She used to make them when I was a boy." Maria smiled. "That's the best compliment I could receive." The old man became a regular customer. He would often sit and chat with Maria, telling her stories about his life. He became like a grandfather to Sofia and Matteo. The sidewalk wasn't always easy. Sometimes, the weather was bad, and nobody came. Sometimes, Maria ran out of ingredients, and she had to close early. But she never gave up. She knew she was doing something important, something that made people happy. And slowly but surely, Maria's sidewalk stand started to grow. She was making enough money to pay the rent, buy groceries, and even save a little bit. She was finally able to provide for her kids without struggling so much. The sidewalk was a humble beginning, but it was a beginning nonetheless. It was the start of Maria's dream. Maria didn't have money for fancy advertising. She couldn't afford TV commercials or newspaper ads. Her secret ingredient wasn't just love, it was word of mouth. Her customers were her best salespeople. Every day, people would tell their friends, family, and co-workers about Maria's empanadas. They'd say things like, "You have to try these empanadas. They're the best I've ever had," or, "The empanada lady makes the most amazing food. You won't be disappointed." One day, a group of nurses from the nearby hospital stopped by. They loved Maria's empanadas so much that they started ordering them for lunch every day. Soon, the entire hospital staff knew about Maria's stand. Another time, a businessman bought a dozen empanadas to take to a meeting. His colleagues were so impressed that they started ordering from Maria for all their office events. Maria was amazed at how quickly her business was growing. She realized that people trusted recommendations from their friends and family more than any advertisement. She always made sure to treat her customers with kindness and respect. She remembered their names, asked about their families, and always offered a smile. She knew that these small gestures made a big difference. Sofia and Matteo also played a part in spreading the word. They would tell their friends at school about their mama's empanadas. They even convinced their teachers to try them. "My mama makes the best empanadas in the world," Sofia would proudly announce. Matteo would add, "They're super yummy. You have to try them." Their enthusiasm was contagious. Soon, the entire school was buzzing about Maria's empanadas. Maria realized that word of mouth was more than just people talking about her food. It was about building relationships, creating a community, and making people feel valued. It was about sharing her love and passion with the world. And as more and more people tried Maria's empanadas, the word spread further and wider. People from other neighborhoods started coming to her stand. People from other towns started hearing about her. Maria's sidewalk stand was no longer just a place to buy empanadas. It was a gathering place, a place where people connected, shared stories, and enjoyed delicious food. And it was all thanks to the power of word of mouth. Maria knew that as long as she kept making great food and treating her customers well, her business would continue to grow. The people were talking, and Maria was listening. After a year of selling empanadas on the sidewalk, Maria had saved a little money. It wasn't much, but it was enough to start thinking bigger. She dreamed of having a real shop, a place where people could come and sit down and enjoy her empanadas, no matter the weather. She started looking for small spaces in her neighborhood. Most were too expensive, or too run down. But one day, she saw a tiny storefront with a "For Rent" sign. It was small and needed a lot of work, but it was affordable. The shop was located on a quiet street, a few blocks from her sidewalk spot. It had big windows, but they were dusty and grimy. The inside was empty, with peeling paint and a leaky roof. But Maria saw potential. She went to the bank and applied for a small loan. She explained her business plan to the loan officer, showing him her savings and telling him about her loyal customers. The loan officer was impressed by Maria's determination and her delicious empanadas. He approved her loan. Maria was overjoyed. She couldn't believe she was finally going to have her own shop. She signed the lease and got to work. She spent weeks cleaning, painting, and fixing up the space. Sofia and Matteo helped her, scrubbing floors and painting walls. Her old friend, the man that reminded her of her grandfather that she met on the sidewalk, helped her fix the leaky roof. It was hard work, but Maria didn't mind. She was building something special. She bought a small oven, a refrigerator, and a few tables and chairs. She decorated the shop with colorful tablecloths and pictures of her abuela. She wanted it to feel warm and inviting. Finally, the shop was ready to open. Maria invited all her friends and customers from the sidewalk. She made a big batch of her famous empanadas and waited nervously. The opening day was a huge success. People lined up outside the door, eager to try Maria's empanadas in her new shop. The shop was filled with laughter, chatter, and the delicious smell of empanadas. Maria couldn't stop smiling. Her dream had come true. She had a real shop, a place where she could share her love of food with the world. The sidewalk was just the beginning, and now, Maria's empanadas had a home. It was tiny, but it was hers. And it was perfect. With her own shop, Maria felt like she could finally spread her wings. She loved making her abuela's classic beef empanadas, but she also had so many other ideas swirling in her head. It was time to expand the menu. She started experimenting with new flavors. First, she tried a chicken empanada, filled with shredded chicken, vegetables, and a creamy sauce. It was a hit. Then, she created a vegetarian empanada, stuffed with spinach, cheese, and mushrooms. Even meat lovers enjoyed it. Sofia and Mateo were her official taste testers. They loved trying all the new flavors and giving Maria their honest opinions. Sometimes, they even came up with their own ideas. "Mama, can you make an empanada with chocolate?" Sofia suggested one day. Maria laughed. "A chocolate empanada? That's a fun idea." She experimented with a sweet empanada, filled with chocolate and bananas. It was a delicious dessert. She called it the Sofia Special. Mateo loved cheese, so Maria created a cheesy empanada with different kinds of cheese and a hint of garlic. She called it the Mateo Melt. The new flavors were a huge success. People loved trying the different options, and Maria's shop became even more popular. She also started selling other snacks, like homemade cookies and fresh fruit juices. Maria dreamed of one day opening more shops, not just in her neighborhood, but all over the city. She wanted everyone to taste her empanadas. She started saving more money, hoping to make her dream a reality. But expanding the menu wasn't just about adding new flavors. It was about listening to her customers, understanding their tastes, and creating food that they would love. Maria always asked for feedback, and she was always willing to try new things. She also started using local ingredients, buying her vegetables from the farmer's market and her meat from the local butcher. She wanted to support her community and provide her customers with the freshest, highest quality ingredients. Maria's tiny shop was becoming a local favorite. People loved the delicious food, the friendly atmosphere, and the sense of community. And Maria was just getting started. She had bigger dreams than ever, and she was determined to make them come true. She knew that with hard work, dedication, and a little bit of love, anything was possible. And with Sofia and Mateo by her side, she felt like she could conquer the world, one empanada at a time. One sunny afternoon, a woman walked into Maria's shop. She was dressed in a simple black dress and carried a notebook and a pen. She looked around, taking in the cozy atmosphere and the aroma of freshly baked empanadas. Maria greeted her with a smile. "Welcome to Maria's Empanadas. What can I get for you?" The woman smiled back. "I'll take one of your classic beef empanadas and one of the Sofia Special, chocolate ones," she said. Maria prepared the empanadas and handed them to the woman. The woman took a bite of the beef empanada and closed her eyes. She savored the flavor, nodding slowly. Then, she tried the chocolate empanada, her eyes widening with surprise. "These are incredible," she exclaimed. "Absolutely amazing." Maria beamed with pride. Thank you so much. The woman spent the next hour sitting at a table, writing in her notebook. She occasionally looked up and smiled at Maria. Maria assumed she was just a happy customer. A week later, Maria was surprised to see her shop featured in the local newspaper. The article was a rave review, written by none other than the city's most famous food critic, Elena Rodriguez. Elena described Maria's empanadas as a taste of heaven, praising the flaky crust, the flavorful fillings, and the homemade touch. She raved about the Sofia Special and the Mateo Melt, calling them creative and delicious. The review ended with a glowing recommendation: Maria's Empanadas is a must-try for anyone who loves good food. This tiny shop is a hidden gem, and Maria is a culinary artist. The next day, Maria's shop was packed. People lined up down the street, eager to try the empanadas that Elena Rodriguez had raved about. Maria couldn't believe her eyes. "This is amazing," she exclaimed to Sofia and Mateo. "We're famous." The food critic's review was a lucky break for Maria. It brought her shop to the attention of a wider audience and helped her business grow even faster. She was grateful for the opportunity and determined to live up to the hype. She worked even harder, making sure that every empanada was perfect. She hired a few extra employees to help her keep up with the demand. She even started staying open later, to accommodate the crowds. Maria knew that the food critic's review was a gift, and she wasn't going to waste it. She was determined to make Maria's empanadas a success, not just for herself, but for Sofia, for Mateo, and for her abuela. The tiny shop was buzzing with excitement, and Maria was ready for whatever came next. The sudden surge in popularity was exciting, but it also brought new challenges. Maria quickly realized that running a busy shop was very different from selling empanadas on the sidewalk. She was facing growing pains. One of the biggest challenges was managing her new employees. She had hired 3 people to help her: a cook, a cashier, and a server. It was hard to delegate tasks and make sure everyone was working together smoothly. She had never been a boss before, and she wasn't sure how to handle conflicts or give instructions. She tried to be friendly and approachable, but sometimes, she felt like she wasn't being taken seriously. Another challenge was keeping up with the demand. She was running out of ingredients faster than she could buy them. She had to find new suppliers and negotiate better prices. She also had to learn how to manage her inventory and make sure she wasn't wasting any food. She was also struggling with the financial side of the business. She had to learn about taxes, accounting, and payroll. It was all so confusing. She considered hiring an accountant, but she didn't have the money. Maria felt overwhelmed and stressed. She was working longer hours than ever before, and she was barely sleeping. She missed spending time with Sofia and Mateo. She felt like she was losing control of her life. One evening, she sat down at her kitchen table, feeling exhausted and defeated. Sofia and Mateo came over and gave her a hug. "Mama, you look sad," Sofia said. "Are you okay, Mama?" Mateo asked. Maria smiled weakly. "I'm just tired, my loves. Running a business is harder than I thought." Sofia and Mateo looked at each other. Then, Sofia said, "Mama, we can help." Mateo nodded eagerly. "Yeah, we can. We're good at helping." Maria smiled. She knew they were right. She didn't have to do everything alone. She could ask for help, from her kids, from her friends, and from her community. She decided to take a deep breath and start tackling the challenges one by one. She started by asking her old friend, the man that reminded her of her grandfather, for advice on managing her finances. He was happy to help. She also started delegating more tasks to her employees, trusting them to do their jobs. Slowly but surely, Maria started to get the hang of things. She learned how to manage her employees, her inventory, and her finances. She learned how to balance her work life with her family life. She was still working hard, but she was also enjoying the journey. The growing pains were still there, but Maria was growing stronger. She was learning to be a businesswoman, a leader, and a mom, all at the same time. One busy Saturday, as Maria was rushing around the shop, trying to manage the lunch rush, a man walked in. He was dressed in a sharp suit and had a friendly smile. He introduced himself as Miguel. "I've heard wonderful things about your empanadas," he said. "I had to try them for myself." Maria smiled. "Welcome. What can I get for you?" Miguel ordered a variety of empanadas, including the classic beef, the chicken, and the Sofia special. He sat at a table and carefully tasted each one, making notes in a small notebook. After he finished, he approached Maria. "These are truly exceptional," he said. "You have something special here." Maria blushed. "Thank you. I put my heart into them." Miguel smiled. "I can tell. I'm a business consultant, and I've been looking for a promising small business to invest in. I believe Maria's empanadas has incredible potential." Maria was surprised. "Invest? What do you mean?" Miguel explained that he could provide the capital and expertise to help Maria expand her business. He had experience in marketing, finance, and operations. He believed that together, they could open more shops and make Maria's empanadas a household name. Maria was hesitant. She had always been independent, and she was worried about giving up control of her business. But she also knew that she needed help to achieve her bigger dreams. She talked to Sofia and Mateo about it. They were excited about the possibility of opening more shops. They encouraged her to meet with Miguel again. Maria met with Miguel several more times. She asked him a lot of questions, making sure she understood his intentions and his vision for the business. She was impressed by his knowledge, his passion, and his genuine interest in her success. Finally, Maria made a decision. She decided to partner with Miguel. She felt like she could trust him, and she believed that together, they could achieve great things. They signed a partnership agreement, outlining their roles and responsibilities. Miguel invested a significant amount of money into the business, and Maria retained creative control over the recipes and the quality of the food. With Miguel's help, Maria's empanadas was about to enter a new chapter. The tiny shop was about to become something much bigger. Maria was nervous, but she was also excited. She knew that with Miguel by her side, she could take Maria's empanadas to the next level. The little empanada shop was poised for significant growth, all thanks to a chance meeting and a promising partnership. With Miguel's investment and business savvy, Maria's dream of opening more shops started to become a reality. They carefully planned their expansion, choosing locations in different neighborhoods across town. The first new shop opened in a bustling area near the city's main park. Miguel handled the lease negotiations, the construction permits, and the marketing, while Maria focused on training the new staff and ensuring the quality of the empanadas remained consistent. The new shop was a hit. People loved the familiar taste of Maria's empanadas, and the location was perfect for families and tourists. Soon, they opened a second shop in a busy shopping district, and a third shop near the university. Each shop had the same warm and inviting atmosphere as the original, with colorful decorations and pictures of Maria's abuela. They hired local people from each neighborhood, creating jobs and contributing to the community. Maria was so proud of how far she had come. From selling empanadas on the sidewalk to owning a chain of successful shops, she had achieved more than she ever thought possible. But she never forgot her humble beginnings. She always made sure to visit the original shop, greeting her loyal customers and making sure everything was running smoothly. Miguel was a great partner. He handled the business side of things, allowing Maria to focus on what she loved most, making delicious food. They worked together seamlessly, respecting each other's strengths and weaknesses. As the business grew, Maria and Miguel started thinking about expanding beyond their town. They dreamed of opening shops in other cities, even in other countries. They knew it would be a big challenge, but they were confident that they could do it. Sofia and Mateo were growing up, and they were becoming more involved in the business. Sophia helped with the marketing, creating social media posts and designing flyers. Matteo helped with the inventory, counting boxes and organizing supplies. Maria was so grateful to have her children by her side. They were her inspiration, her motivation, and her biggest supporters. She knew that she couldn't have done it without them. With more shops opening across town, Maria's Empanadas was becoming a local institution. People from all walks of life were enjoying her delicious food, and Maria was fulfilling her dream of sharing her love of empanadas with the world. The little empanada shop that started on the sidewalk had blossomed into a thriving business, thanks to hard work, dedication, and a little bit of luck. The journey had just begun. As Maria's Empanadas expanded, it truly became a family affair. Sophia and Matteo, now teenagers, were actively involved in the business after school and on weekends. They weren't just helping out, they were learning valuable skills and contributing to the success of the company. Sophia, with her artistic flair, took charge of the marketing efforts. She designed eye-catching posters and flyers, managed the social media accounts, and created fun contests to engage customers. She had a natural talent for connecting with people, and her marketing campaigns were a huge success. Matteo, with his organized mind and attention to detail, took on the responsibility of managing the inventory. He tracked the supplies, ordered ingredients, and made sure that each shop had everything it needed. He was a whiz with numbers, and he quickly learned how to optimize the inventory to minimize waste and maximize profits. Maria was so proud of her children. They were not only helping her run the business, but they were also developing their own skills and talents. She loved watching them grow and learn, and she cherished the time they spent together. After school, Sophia would head to the main office, where she would work on her marketing projects. She would brainstorm new ideas, create social media posts, and analyze the results of her campaigns. She loved being creative, and she felt like she was making a real difference. Matteo would go to the central kitchen, where he would oversee the inventory and make sure that all the shops were properly stocked. He would count boxes, organize supplies, and track the shipments. He enjoyed the challenge of managing the inventory, and he felt like he was contributing to the efficiency of the business. On weekends, Sophia and Matteo would often work at the shops, helping out with serving customers, cleaning tables, and preparing food. They loved interacting with the customers and seeing the smiles on their faces. They knew that they were part of something special, something that made people happy. Maria always made sure that Sophia and Matteo had time for their studies and their friends. She never wanted them to feel like they were being forced to work. She wanted them to enjoy being part of the business and to learn valuable skills that would help them in the future. The success of Maria's Empanadas was a testament to the power of family. Maria, Sophia, and Matteo worked together, supporting each other, and sharing their love of food with the world. It was a true family affair, and it was the secret ingredient to their success. As the siblings grew older, their roles within the company grew more critical, shaping not only the business but also their own futures. As Maria's Empanadas grew, Maria realized that her abuela's secret recipe was the heart of her business. It was what made her empanadas so special, so delicious, and so unique. She had always kept the recipe locked away, only sharing it with a few trusted employees. One day, Maria received a shocking phone call. One of her former employees, a cook named Ricardo, had quit and started his own empanada shop across town. And to Maria's horror, his empanadas tasted almost exactly like hers. Maria was devastated. She couldn't believe that Ricardo would betray her like that. She confronted him, but he denied stealing the recipe. He claimed that he had developed his own recipe, independently. Maria knew that Ricardo was lying. She had seen him watching her closely as she prepared the empanadas. She suspected that he had memorized the ingredients and the techniques, and then copied her recipe. Maria was terrified. She knew that if Ricardo's shop became successful, it could ruin her business. People might think that his empanadas were the real thing, and hers were just imitations. She consulted with a lawyer, but he told her that it would be difficult to prove that Ricardo had stolen her recipe. She didn't have any written proof, and it was hard to protect a food recipe legally. Maria felt like she was about to lose everything she had worked so hard for. She couldn't sleep, she couldn't eat, and she couldn't focus on her business. She was consumed by fear and anxiety. Sofia and Matteo saw how upset their mother was, and they rallied around her. They encouraged her to fight back, to protect her legacy, and to prove that her empanadas were the best. Sofia suggested that Maria focus on what made her empanadas unique, the love and care that she put into them. She created a new marketing campaign, emphasizing the homemade quality of Maria's empanadas and the family story behind the business. Matteo, with his keen eye for detail, analyzed Ricardo's empanadas and identified some subtle differences in the ingredients and the techniques. He suggested that Maria make some small adjustments to her recipe, to make it even better and to distinguish it from Ricardo's. Maria took their advice to heart. She poured even more love into her empanadas, experimenting with new flavors and perfecting her techniques. She also made the small adjustments that Matteo had suggested, adding a secret ingredient that made her empanadas even more delicious. Slowly but surely, Maria's empanadas started to regain its popularity. People could taste the difference between Maria's empanadas and Ricardo's. They could feel the love and care that Maria put into her food. Ricardo's shop eventually closed down. His empanadas were good, but they weren't the real thing. They didn't have the magic, the heart, and the soul that Maria's empanadas had. Maria had faced her biggest challenge yet, and she had emerged stronger than ever. She had almost lost it all, but she had learned a valuable lesson, that the secret ingredient to her success wasn't just her abuela's recipe, but her own love, her own passion, and her own family. The scare ultimately reinforced the unique heart behind her success. With the secret recipe scare behind them, Maria and Miguel were more determined than ever to expand Maria's empanadas. They had proven that their business could withstand challenges, and they were ready to take on the world. They started researching international markets, looking for cities with a strong food culture and a potential for growth. They considered several options, but one city stood out: Barcelona, Spain. Barcelona was a vibrant city with a rich history, delicious food, and a large population of tourists. It was also a place where Maria's abuela had lived for a time, before immigrating. It felt like a perfect fit. Miguel traveled to Barcelona to scout locations and meet with potential partners. He found a charming storefront in a popular neighborhood, near a bustling market and a beautiful park. He also connected with a local chef who was interested in helping them adapt their menu to the Spanish palate. Maria was thrilled with the idea of opening a shop in Spain. It felt like she was coming full circle, honoring her abuela's legacy and sharing her family's food with the world. They spent months preparing for the international launch. They translated their menu into Spanish, adapted their recipes to use local ingredients, and trained their new staff in the art of making empanadas. Sofia helped with the marketing, creating a new website and social media accounts in Spanish. She also designed posters and flyers that showcased the Spanish culture and the connection to Maria's abuela. Matteo managed the logistics, coordinating the shipments of ingredients and equipment to Spain. He also worked with the local chef to ensure that the recipes were authentic and delicious. Finally, the day arrived. Maria, Miguel, Sofia, and Matteo traveled to Barcelona for the grand opening of Maria's empanadas. They were nervous, but they were also excited. The shop was packed with people, eager to try Maria's empanadas. The aroma of freshly baked empanadas filled the air, and the atmosphere was festive and welcoming. The opening was a huge success. People loved the taste of Maria's empanadas, and they were fascinated by the story behind the business. The local media covered the event, and Maria's empanadas became an instant sensation in Barcelona. Maria couldn't believe it. Her dream of going international had come true. She was sharing her family's food with the world, and people were loving it. The little empanada shop that started on the sidewalk had gone global. The success in Barcelona paved the way for more international expansion. Maria and Miguel started opening shops in other cities in Europe, and then in South America and Asia. Maria's Empanadas was becoming a global brand, known for its delicious food, its family story, and its commitment to quality and community. The Spanish adventure marked the start of something truly global. As Maria's Empanadas expanded to new countries, Maria understood that simply replicating her existing menu wouldn't be enough. To truly connect with local customers, she needed to adapt her offerings to suit their tastes and preferences. She embraced the challenge of creating cultural snacks that reflected the unique culinary traditions of each new location. In Mexico City, they introduced empanadas filled with spicy chorizo and Oaxaca cheese, inspired by the flavors of traditional Mexican cuisine. They also created a sweet empanada filled with cajeta, a caramel-like sauce made from goat's milk. In Tokyo, they offered empanadas filled with teriyaki chicken and seaweed, appealing to the Japanese palate. They also created a vegetarian empanada filled with tofu, shiitake mushrooms, and ginger. In Mumbai, they introduced empanadas filled with curried potatoes and peas, reflecting the vibrant flavors of Indian street food. They also created a sweet empanada filled with mango and cardamom. Maria worked closely with local chefs and food experts in each country to develop these new flavors. She wanted to ensure that the empanadas were authentic and respectful of the local culinary traditions. Sofia, with her marketing expertise, created advertising campaigns that highlighted the cultural snacks and celebrated the diversity of each new location. She used local languages and imagery to connect with customers and create a sense of belonging. Mateo, with his logistical skills, managed the supply chain, sourcing local ingredients and ensuring that the new flavors were consistent across all the shops. He also worked with local farmers and suppliers to support the local economy. Maria was amazed at how well the cultural snacks were received. People loved trying the new flavors, and they appreciated the effort that Maria's Empanadas was making to connect with their culture. The cultural snacks became a signature of Maria's Empanadas, setting them apart from other international food chains. People knew that when they visited Maria's Empanadas, they would not only get delicious food, but they would also get a taste of the local culture. Maria's Empanadas became a symbol of cultural exchange, bringing people together through the love of food. It was a testament to Maria's vision, her passion, and her commitment to creating a business that was both successful and meaningful. As Maria's Empanadas continued to spread across the globe, the menu evolved, reflecting the diverse cultures it touched and creating a truly global culinary experience. The ability to adapt and embrace local flavors became a key ingredient in their continued success. Expanding internationally wasn't always easy. Maria and Miguel faced numerous challenges as they navigated the complexities of doing business in different countries. Language barriers and unfamiliar regulations proved to be significant hurdles. In some countries, they struggled to communicate effectively with local suppliers and employees. They had to rely on translators, which sometimes led to misunderstandings and delays. They learned the importance of investing in language training for their staff and building strong relationships with local partners who could help them navigate the cultural differences. They also encountered a variety of new rules and regulations regarding food safety, labor laws, and business practices. They had to spend a lot of time and money ensuring that they were in compliance with all the local laws. They learned the importance of doing their research and seeking expert advice before entering a new market. In one country, they faced unexpected delays in obtaining the necessary permits to open their shop. They had to navigate a complex bureaucracy and deal with corrupt officials. They learned the importance of patience, persistence, and ethical business practices. In another country, they had difficulty finding reliable suppliers of local ingredients. They had to build relationships with local farmers and producers, and they had to invest in quality control measures to ensure that the ingredients met their standards. They learned the importance of supporting local communities and building sustainable supply chains. Sofia and Mateo played a crucial role in helping Maria and Miguel overcome these challenges. Sofia used her marketing skills to create culturally sensitive advertising campaigns that resonated with local customers. She also helped to train the staff in customer service and communication skills. Matteo used his logistical skills to manage the supply chain and ensure that the shops had the ingredients they needed. He also worked with local authorities to navigate the regulatory environment. Maria and Miguel learned that expanding internationally required more than just a great product and a strong business plan. It also required cultural sensitivity, adaptability, and a willingness to learn. They embraced the challenges, and they never gave up on their dream of sharing Maria's empanadas with the world. They found that overcoming these hurdles made them stronger and more resilient, and it reinforced their commitment to building a global brand that was both successful and ethical. Each challenge was a learning opportunity, and each success was a testament to their hard work and dedication. The global journey continued, one empanada and one country at a time. 10 years had passed since Maria first started selling empanadas on the sidewalk. Looking back, she could hardly believe how far she had come. Maria's Empanadas was now a global brand, with shops on 3 continents, North America, Europe, and Asia. In North America, Maria's Empanadas could be found in major cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Toronto. Each shop had its own unique flavor, reflecting the diversity of the local community. In Europe, Maria's Empanadas had shops in Barcelona, Paris, London, and Rome. The European shops were known for their elegant decor and their sophisticated menu, featuring local wines and cheeses. In Asia, Maria's Empanadas had shops in Tokyo, Mumbai, and Seoul. The Asian shops were famous for their innovative and exotic flavors, incorporating local spices and ingredients. Maria traveled the world, visiting her shops and connecting with her employees. She loved seeing the smiles on people's faces as they tasted her empanadas. She was proud to be sharing her family's food with the world. Sofia and Matteo had taken on even bigger roles in the company. Sofia was now the chief marketing officer, responsible for overseeing all of the company's marketing efforts. She was a brilliant strategist, and she had a knack for creating campaigns that resonated with customers around the world. Matteo was now the chief operations officer, responsible for managing the company's supply chain and ensuring that all of the shops were running smoothly. He was a master of logistics, and he had a talent for solving problems and finding efficient solutions. Maria was so grateful to have her children by her side. They were her partners, her confidants, and her best friends. She knew that she couldn't have done it without them. Miguel was still a valuable partner, providing guidance and support as the company continued to grow. He had helped Maria turn her dream into a reality, and she would always be grateful for his friendship and his expertise. Maria's Empanadas had become more than just a business. It had become a symbol of hope, inspiration, and the power of family. Maria's story had touched the lives of millions of people around the world, proving that anything is possible with hard work, dedication, and a little bit of love. The little empanada shop that started on the sidewalk was now a global phenomenon, a testament to the power of one woman's dream. Maria's snacks were everywhere, bringing joy and a taste of home to people across the globe. From the humble sidewalk to 3 continents, her journey was complete, but her legacy was just beginning. Despite her global success, Maria never forgot where she came from. She remembered the struggles she faced as a single mother, trying to make ends meet. She remembered the kindness of her community, the people who supported her and believed in her. And she remembered the humble sidewalk where it all began. Maria was determined to give back to her community, to help others who were facing similar challenges. She started a foundation, called the Empanada Foundation, to support single mothers and aspiring entrepreneurs. The foundation provided grants and loans to help single mothers start their own businesses. It also offered mentorship programs, connecting single mothers with experienced business leaders who could provide guidance and support. Maria also partnered with local schools and organizations to provide scholarships and educational resources to underprivileged children. She wanted to give them the opportunity to pursue their dreams, regardless of their background. She often visited her old neighborhood, the place where she first started selling empanadas. She would talk to the people, listen to their stories, and offer them words of encouragement. She wanted them to know that they were not alone, and that anything was possible. One day, Maria returned to the corner where she used to set up her sidewalk stand. She saw a young woman selling homemade jewelry. Maria approached her and introduced herself. "I used to sell empanadas here," Maria said. "I know what it's like to start from nothing." The young woman was surprised and excited to meet Maria. She told Maria about her struggles, her dreams, and her hopes for the future. Maria listened attentively, offering words of wisdom and encouragement. She gave the young woman a grant from the Empanada Foundation, to help her expand her business. The young woman was overwhelmed with gratitude. She thanked Maria profusely, promising to use the money wisely and to pay it forward one day. Maria smiled. She knew that she was making a difference, one person at a time. She was honoring her abuela's legacy, and she was creating a better world for her children. Maria's commitment to giving back was an integral part of her success. It was what made her business so special, so meaningful, and so inspiring. The world had changed, but the sidewalk was always a grounding reminder. Her community was always at the forefront of her mind. Maria would never forget where she came from. The Empanada Foundation was a symbol of her gratitude and her commitment to helping others achieve their dreams. It was Maria's way of paying it forward, ensuring that others had the same opportunities that she had been given. The cycle of success and giving back continued. Maria's story became an inspiration to other moms around the world. She showed them that it was possible to overcome adversity, to pursue their dreams, and to create a better life for their children. She received countless letters and emails from women who had been inspired by her story. They told her how her example had given them the courage to start their own businesses, to go back to school, or to simply believe in themselves. Maria became a sought-after speaker, sharing her story at conferences, schools, and community events. She talked about her struggles, her successes, and the lessons she had learned along the way. She wanted to empower other women to take control of their lives and to pursue their passions. She always emphasized the importance of family, community, and giving back. She encouraged other moms to involve their children in their businesses, to support local organizations, and to use their success to make a positive impact on the world. Sofia and Matteo were also inspiring role models. They showed other young people that it was possible to be both successful and compassionate, to use their talents to make a difference in the world. Sofia used her marketing skills to promote social causes, supporting organizations that were working to fight poverty, promote education, and protect the environment. Matteo used his logistical skills to help organizations improve their efficiency and reduce their costs. He also volunteered his time to mentor young people who were interested in pursuing careers in business. Maria's legacy extended far beyond her empanada shops. She had created a movement, inspiring other moms to become entrepreneurs, to give back to their communities, and to create a better world for their children. Her story was a testament to the power of one woman's dream, the importance of family, and the transformative potential of business. Maria had not only built a successful company, but she had also built a legacy of hope, inspiration, and empowerment. And as Maria looked at her children, she knew that her greatest accomplishment was not her global success, but the impact she had made on the lives of others. She had proven that one person can make a difference, and that with hard work, dedication, and a little bit of love, anything is possible. Maria's name became synonymous with possibility. Other struggling mothers saw her story and knew they too could find success, no matter how small the beginning. The simple sidewalk empanada stand had not only fed bellies, it had fed dreams.